Heavenly Father, Mother God, in this moment, we stand together, opening our hearts to you, to ourselves, and to each other. All that is unlike heaven, peace, love, joy, oneness, all that is unlike that, we open up into our hearts to expose those things. We ask you to shine your light upon these parts of ourselves. Unhealed wounds, challenges, judgments, whatever the case may be, we choose not to live in darkness nor hide under rocks. We ask that every particle of our being be exposed to your light, knowing that you gracefully and gently shine them away. The light has come in this moment because two or more are gathering with the intention that it be so. Let all of our relationships become holy places where we can dance in this light. Help us not to control the form, what that looks like, family members, partnerships, etc. That's not important. What's important is all of our relationships are being surrendered to you to make holy. And we give thanks that today another level, a quantum leap, where we can proclaim heaven is here, heaven is now, heaven is within, and heaven moves through each and every one of us. And so it is.
So it is. Please join me in reading our mission statement, which you can find on this white card. Together we say, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. And now for our sacred reading.
From Mother Teresa of Calcutta. Let us always meet each other with a smile, for the smile is the beginning of love. Spread love everywhere you go, first of all in your own homes. Give love to your children, to your wife or husband, to a next-door neighbor. Let no one ever come to you without leaving better and happier than when they arrived. Be the living expression of God's kindness. Kindness in your face, kindness in your eyes, kindness in your smile, kindness in your warm greeting. Go out into the world today and love the people you meet. Let your presence light new light in the hearts of people. And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you. All right, folks. Welcome those of you who are new to our center. My name is Michael Mirdad, and I serve here as part of our spiritual leadership. If you'd be so kind and share with me what's truly on your heart.
Living in the now.
Living in the now. What's truly in your heart, not just to throw out words, but just really what you feel is important in the world or in your life.
What was in that song? Feel like crying, feel like dying, feel coming home.
Yeah. Coming home, yeah, to our old home, to God, the Lord's home, God, heaven. Yeah.
Recognizing our needs.
Recognizing needs.
Embracing the unknown.
Okay.
Vulnerability.
Forgiveness.
Wait. Hold on one sec. Okay.
The difference between Lucifer and Satan.
Wisdom.
One has a song dedicated to it called Lucifer and the Diamonds, Anyway.
That's right.
Lucifer with diamonds and
Replacing limiting beliefs.
Okay. Good. Thank you, guys. You know, I've often said that we have 3 levels of ourself. And it's so evident, it should be obvious to every belief system, tradition, religion, and so on. But there's the upper 3 chakras represent God's self, our spiritual self, capital S, our spirit self. In complete contrast, the lower 3 chakras represent our human self. And then in the middle is our heart, our soul self. And it's really important to understand this because, you know, people seem so confused. And, you know, words like vulnerability and, you know, challenge, darkness, dark beings, illnesses, and, you know, where's that if we have this spiritual self? Well, the problem is it's called separation. So instead of only being the light of God, even on earth, which is the whole point of Christ consciousness, at one point we thought what we need to do is manifest God through our brilliance, through mastery. That's the era of demigods or heroes, you know, the Perseuses and so forth, the heroes in stories. So it's kind of like, at one time that was our theory, and it was true. Because we didn't understand there's one more step to really accepting God's presence through and through. So we know that we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. We know something's not quite right. 1 minute, oneness with God, bliss, joy, peace, love. And that's what people are affirming. You're practitioners of certain traditions. They affirm your health. They affirm your happiness despite the world around you. What they're affirming is that God is. No matter what seems to be, God is. And that's healthy and that's right to do. But there are some problems, and that is, even though God is, I don't believe it in my heart yet. Therefore, I don't see it manifested in the lower self. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So then it seems like contrast. And people are like, well, if there's a God, then why? Well, because something is in the way. And then we thought, well, you know what we need to do is if we just develop more physical prowess, physical mastery. If only I could be a great healer or go to great healers. Or if I nurtured Tantra, or if I became a physical hero, or the Hercules. That's trying to get this to look like this, and it's not possible. The human self can never completely reflect the spiritual self because the human self was designed to mirror or reflect falling from the spiritual self. But we thought just one more set of push-ups, man, and I'm home. And then it's like no matter what. You know, and you build up so much muscle and you forgot. The reason you're building muscle is as a barrier between you and God. Every one of those muscles is another layer between us. So we went too far there. It's all about prosperity. We went too far there. It's all about conquering. We went too far there. There's something missing. And that's the story of Christ, not just Jesus Christ, but what Jesus continues to teach, which is, guys, listen, you keep trying to get home by achievement, but it isn't. You have to forgive yourself for not already being there. And if you can keep forgiving yourself for not being there yet, you're peeling layers that are thousands of times more efficient than you working on it one lifetime at a time. You know, it's forgiveness. You know, and then some of us are like, no, that's too easy. It's got to involve the gym several hours a day. I've got to fast and eat completely tasteless food from some local market, you know, and then I know I'm doing all right. You know, and people do, and they, you know, then you're still working at it. You know, you bring it. You still have jobs you might or might not like or have a mixture of feelings. Children that are challenging some days, it's not, if I could just get them, yeah, then I'd be really good, man, spiritual. And it's like just constant download of forgiveness. Forgive every tree that looks like it's dead, because it isn't. Forgive every person that acts like they're spiritually dead, because they're not. But why do I keep seeing the other? Because something's wrong in here. My heart. My spiritual self is already one with God. I don't have to fix that. My human self, that needs total repair. So I got to, no, wait. The human self, understand, spiritual self does not feel emotions, by the way. You might think it does. It cannot feel ups and downs. Your spiritual self cannot show signs of bipolar disorder. You can't have ups and downs. Your spiritual self can only feel spiritual feelings, not emotions, known as peace, states of consciousness, peace and bliss, joy. You follow? The human self can't feel emotions, believe it or not. It can only create chemical replications. Think about that. Well, I don't believe in that, man. I live in Sedona, so I totally believe in the power of the body, or whatever, your Shasta or wherever you live, that it's all into the body. Your body cannot feel anything, and we can prove it. Find a corpse and tell me what it's feeling. Go ahead, channel it. Channel a corpse. I'm telling you, it doesn't go, I'm having a good day today. It's a corpse. And the next day, I was feeling good yesterday, but today, it's weird, It doesn't feel. You have to be there to bring it feeling. Who's the you I'm talking about? Your soul. Your soul animates your human self. The human world is a reflection of our inner world. That's Carl Jung, that's Einstein even. The world is just a mirror. Quantum physics, it's a hologram. It's true. But holograms don't actually have emotions. It's just, a screen. The world is a screen of life onto which we project our consciousness. And that's not easy to say to people. And please understand, I'm saying this, and it's brilliant. This thing that I'm describing, we should all get this. But as exciting or brilliant and mind-boggling as it is, you don't necessarily tell people that. You don't, Can you imagine somebody running for office saying, and it really doesn't matter if you vote for me because I'm just a hologram anyway. But I would like to be part of your happy dream. So vote for me, and I'm going to try to not repair things on the political level, financial level, economic level, but I'm going to ask everybody to join in consciousness. Let's get the stock market up. Oh, there it goes. Good. Okay. And then we're going to just do positive thinking every day. That person can't win. They can't win because that would mean that we're willing to face our insanity and stop worshiping false gods, meaning believing the world has power in itself. The world, your body cannot feel on its own, and the world cannot function. It's a mirror. It can't do things to us as much as we think it can. So it's interesting to me because it's the soul. When you want to heal people, remember, and this is a bit much, because if you're a licensed, say, massage therapist, and you hear me say you can only heal on the level of the soul, it doesn't negate the massage. Because while I'm massaging you, I can still download that I care about you. And now you're healing on a consciousness level. You see? It doesn't matter. Rub their feet, acupuncture, do the massage, do the body work. Just don't believe that that's what heals them. Right? It's the consciousness. It's the care. You have come to me, consciously or not, putting yourself in my hands, so to speak. Like, help me. Whether it's a friend, whether it's a lover, whether it's a family member, your children, even somebody in the grocery store. You look at them and you can just tell, why am I being drawn to them? They're calling on you. You have to decide what is the right thing. How? Because you're a channel. You're not God completely realized yet, but you're a channel. God, that person's soul just feels like it's reaching out. If I'm mistaken, I send them love. If I'm not mistaken, I send them love. Either way, it can't go wrong. So I'm sending that person love. I don't care what form. I might or might not introduce myself because the form doesn't matter. Send the love, send the consciousness, download it in your massages. And when you get a massage, if you have to get surgery, download love to your surgeon. Might help. Better than hating them and going, you and your AMA, the AMA, is that what it is? You and your little, pharmaceutical. You're all pharma. Oh, yeah, that's what you want to say to your surgeon. Yeah, tick him off. And he'd be like, oops, oh, I'm sorry. Beep, And you got to come back and deal with more surgeons in other lifetimes. You're going to marry a surgeon. You know? You knew that was coming. So the body can reflect reflections of our life. That was our morning song. Reflections of my life. You know, and it's just this terrible world. It's reflecting such chaos. I want to go home. Now, the tricky part is God saying, no, you can't go home. You have to grow home. You have to become the place you want to go to. Well, I don't like that answer. I know. Well, we'll get to that in just a sec. We have soul level emotions. Now, sometimes, I will say, we address the body and all that. It's not a contradiction. It's because you deal with people at whatever level they're at. If they come to you and say, my hand is broken, help, you don't say it's an illusion. You fix their hand. As Ernest Holmes said, you put a cast on a broken bone. But as Jesus says, kingdom first. So put the arm in a cast if that's urgent, fine. But don't forget consciousness has to heal. You see? I remember one time I was lifting the lid of a hot tub, and it was old, and it was already like filled with water. It's not supposed to but it was old, and so it wasn't waterproofed, and so moisture so it was very heavy. And I went to flip it open or back one way or the other, and didn't realize the weight of it. But as soon as I flipped it, I felt the weight on my arm going, but I just did this masterful thing. God, it looked so good. I felt it shifting, and I jumped to the side of the hot tub, grabbed one half, the heavy half, and the other half, I grabbed a wall. Oh, it must have looked like so. And then as I stood there holding like Atlas, I felt the tearing of my bicep. And it's going, boom, boom, ripping, and I'm going, oh! So it looked good, but it didn't work. In any case, here's what happened. When it happened, I went, no! And it wasn't physical pain. I swear to God. In the moment that it was tearing, I felt failure. I felt now the bicep is ripped. How am I going to, what do I do with that? And how do I explain? How do I do talks now? This is all happening in one split second. Hi, everyone. I'm going to do a talk now. And, I got to tell you, about God and empowerment and how anything can be healed. Stuff is going to happen. Forgive yourself and laugh at it. This one time I was on my way to a workshop, and we got sideswiped in the car, and we flipped a couple times. Now, when it happened, I reached immediately to hold the other person in their seat, okay? And boom, 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 boom. Yeah, the arm again. Armageddon. Oh! Anyway, so I had to do a talk that night. I swear to you. And I was using a board. I'm not kidding. It was funny, but I would actually have to go. I did. It was the weirdest thing. Like, nudge it up there so I could write, because this was, anyway. But the lesson, it isn't the body. If you said, God, can you show me your presence today? Hello, I'm here. Hi, what's with the arm? What arm? Well, my arm, there's this tearing, and I'm having to, flip my shoulder up there to get the pen up on the marker board. And it doesn't say, oh, let me fix your arm. You don't have an arm and you don't have a body. This is a hologram of tests and lessons in here. The lessons in whatever it is. I don't want to fail anybody. That's why, instantly I felt sad. Like I felt emotions. Now, we did a class the other night, Wednesday night. Do you guys remember that? And we talked about tracking. And it's interesting because people think that the key, which it partly is, track and look behind what's happening on the physical world level, and you'll find out what's happening in here. If you find out what's happening in here and give it to God and replace it with God's presence, you have a soul level healing. Yay! However, that's great news, mind you. However, what some people don't realize is what that means. We know what it is and what it does, but here's what it means. It means if you would have healed those emotions in the first place, the physical thing wouldn't have happened. If the physical things can get tracked to emotions, It means heal the emotions and this wouldn't have happened, which also implies responsibility. That's why some teachers had the wherewithal, the courage to say, all things that happen are by your creating. And we go, no, not me. Don't get upset. It's okay. You're on, this planet Earth is the asylum of the universe. If you're here, don't be too shocked that you're twisted. You're here. That's evidence in itself. And I'm not putting down the world. There is no world. It's a hologram. But I'm saying don't be too hard on yourself. Kind of learn to laugh at it. Lessons. Yeah, but lessons, what kind of lessons can there be in my 5 psychopathic husbands, each more abusive than the last? Who wants to own that? Well, I'm not telling you to take it on as guilt and shame. I'm telling you just the best you can realize there's something here for me, something I can learn. Okay, not punish yourself with it, but just recognizing this isn't by chance, it isn't accidental. There's something here, and let me look at this and learn. I know that's heavy. I'll come back to that in just a second, but I know it's heavy. But we all have and have had and experienced things called anger. And we would typically say, why are you angry? Well, someone did this to me. It's usually someone dissed you, someone abused you, attacked you, and you feel righteously angry. I get it. However, there are levels of anger. I mean, there's everything from the mildest form of agitation to greater and greater forms, right? Don't assume that if you don't look enraged that you're not so bad off. It's still, something's throwing off a child of God. So, you can say, I'm just feeling a little impatient. Nice. That's the beginning of anger. Let it go long enough and impatience starts to become something else, right? Depending on, what level you want to leap to, but there's impatience and then there's, okay, I'm not impatient, now I'm annoyed. And then annoyed's going to become, I'm starting to feel irritated and even agitated. Those are like the beginnings of anger. Then you get into anger itself. Levels of anger itself. Just owning, okay, I'm feeling angry. Fine. It's all the same anyway. You're feeling off. But there's another level of anger, the one we really would rather not talk about, rage. And any one of these, not dealt with properly, try to suppress it, deny it, it's going to manifest on that level down there. This is going to spill over. My unhealed annoyances, my unhealed rage, it's going to spill over. But don't assume that major illnesses on the physical level prove major emotions. That's a general rule, yes, but not exact. Because if I feel anger, but I own it and process it, it might barely manifest. If I only have a little annoyance, but try to stuff it, it could manifest as the worst symptom. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So, there's the overt feelings, but tracking allows us to see, whoa, where did that come from? Tracking means honesty. Tracking means looking like spontaneously so that you can, or like, catch yourself in the middle of these kinds of emotions that you'd rather, pretend aren't there. So we process through this stuff and rage is kind of like anger that's out of control. Anger that is totally inflamed. Not just angry, it's just, it's like the difference between a cherry bomb and a nuclear blast. Rage is, we think the word tells us what it is. It is really out of control and it's beyond human comprehension. Okay, but something has to have been felt for so long or so intensely or both, too long and too intense that it became rage. Now, try to pretend it's not there and it's going to eat you alive. So what do? Well, you just walk around going, hey, everybody, I'm enraged. No, you don't vent it. You process it. But there's reasons why you feel angry. And there's 3 selves, remember, but there's also these 3 layers of hidden emotion. We have lots of layers of emotion, but 3 I'm going to focus on. 1, anger and its various levels. But understand, anger is usually felt at other people. We also feel it towards ourselves, right? But usually we feel anger towards others. There's another, as we descend into human consciousness or deeper into our hearts, we find hidden behind anger, even rage, any form of anger, is sadness towards self. Yes, I'm angry what you did, but I let God down. I let me down, right? How did I end up here? I feel deep sadness, which is still judgment, whether it's anger at others, judgment, or sadness towards self. It's still a judgment on yourself. But one reason why we're so quick to judge others and get angry and agitated with others is so we don't look at ourselves. But in ourselves, it's not just anger. It's sadness, depression, despair. It's heavy. There's one more layer that we still have to get to. And, as some of you were talking about, the embracing of things and getting home, which we're going to talk about. But our limiting beliefs, one of you asked about. Limiting beliefs. This is all here. I can't have limiting beliefs in God. And my physical body can't have limiting beliefs. It can only act them out. They're all here in my soul. Am I willing to let the light of God shine into this place? Well, here's what happens. One reason I feel sadness is because when light shines on this place, I can see all the people that I vented on or was angry at. All the people I blamed and how sad I feel towards myself. When light's shining here, we think, oh man, my heart chakra's open, everything, I love everyone. That's just one phase of the heart. Remember, to see pure light in your heart, you have to be willing to face the things that aren't pure light in your heart. Anger and, unhealed wounds of whatever kind. So, yes, we could say that unhealed wounds of anger or sadness, even sadness towards self, can become illness. It can become depression, chemical levels of depression. But don't try to control or analyze what level goes where. The bottom line is if a child of God is feeling anything less than peace, love, joy, something's wrong. Wrong meaning something is off and can be healed. All right? And some of the other words you guys are asking about. The one word that's very important here was embracing, but another one was vulnerability. To be able to sit and say, here I am, God. When I do true healing work, or when you're working with others, you might obviously find when they're reflecting to you anger towards others. But understand, we actually blame others, and I'm not saying people haven't done hurtful things, but we actually obsess on blaming them. And there's a reason. The ego has taught us, hey, welcome to hell. You're not in heaven anymore, so let me give you some rules. You're going to be feeling upset inside, sadness towards self. Why? Because you left God. So you're feeling kind of bummed. Yes, I have a solution. Just like a person ready to write another prescription for a harmful drug. I have a solution. And that's the day the dartboard was created. The ego said, if you throw enough darts at someone's picture, the picture will become eventually just destroyed and it'll fall into pieces. So that's how you deal with, you don't have to deal with your sadness in yourself. Let's project it on others. Throw enough darts and you'll feel better. Oh, I feel totally better. Wow, yeah, there's the president's face, and and there's my ex, and I feel better. But the ego doesn't tell you that it owns the largest Xerox machine in the universe. So just when you blink, it replaces it with another photo of the same person. And you're going, wait a minute, let me check my calendar. Yeah, I attended my 12 steps all week, and I went to the shamanic healing, and I did this, and I did the tracking. How could that be there again? Well, that's exactly why it's there again. Because the ego cannot allow you to believe you're getting anywhere. So it throws up the same picture over and over. And then you're like, but I thought I healed that. Have you ever heard that line? I thought I healed that. Great. Just remember, Xerox machine. And you'll get that covered. But then if you start to grow spiritually, you're like, I'm not stupid. I know I worked on that. Nice job. Nice job. Now, the ego doesn't tell you it also owns Photoshop. So it's going to take the photo and put a mustache on it and lipstick on a pig. It's going to make it look like it's someone else. So you do feel like, because you're getting too smart, you're going to feel like you're making progress because that's not the same face. But it is. And when you really grow, and I mean this sincerely, when you really grow, you start to realize, I'm tired of throwing darts at individuals. And you start to work on collective concepts. You know, it's not my XXX, it's men. Or women, or authority figures, or, see? And that is progress, believe it or not. It is progress because you shifted from an individual to concepts. It's broader and it's deeper in your heart that you've gone. See, the names and the people out there, outer orientation is always less evolved than inner orientation, right? So that's kind of cool. We start to realize, wow, now I'm starting to work deeper, on concepts. This is really cool. But the reason I'm even, others oriented, anger, darts, is actually so I don't have to deal with how I really feel inside. The reason you're still talking about, and you're not wrong for talking about individuals that have hurt you. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm telling you, the reason you're focused so much on it is you don't have to feel what's happening in here. You get to talk about it out there. Does that make sense? And it's not easy to face, but it comes back here. There is no others. There really are no others. So there's no such thing. But not everybody really, can grasp that without feeling even worse for a moment. But we take it from the dartboard and we bring it to self, and I'm just sad. And I'm just sad for all kinds of reasons. I'm sad that how did I get here? And how did we get here? And instead of looking at war on the screen and going, they did, I start to go, I'm just sad that we do. And you start speaking as a we because the heart and soul is a collective. It's not an individual. Does that make sense? So you'll know you're growing towards soul level consciousness when you speak we. We are sad. We are angry. We are hurt. See, we in the situation. It shifts this energy. It's really beautiful. The ego is not going to be okay with that, so it's still going to say, fine, then I hate we. It's going to always try to, but it can't. You're starting to realize, man, we're in this together. When one nation launches towards another, they're upset inside. If they're in their God self, they couldn't do it. So forgive us, we know not what we do. It's not finger pointing. And I know that's hard to conceive in this world because this world was created out of pointing, called projection. We pointed ourselves onto this planet through judgment away from God's consciousness. So we've got this deep concept, this deep feeling of loss inside. And I feel imagine what it feels like to miss home, to miss God. Don't just kind of go, yeah, no. Imagine it for a moment. How overwhelming it feels to be alone in this universe. Well, I'm not alone. You are alone. And when you die, you'll even be afraid that you're going to be alone on the other side. And a baby cries not because they spank its bottom, it's because it came here. Never a pediatrician, Anyway. It's, it's sad. And the person dying alone. Even the person, they're going to miss their husband, wife, they're going to miss their love, their children. Where do you think that comes from? That's a symptom of sadness. But it isn't for your child alone. It isn't for your loved one alone. It's sadness in general. Remember, others to self. It isn't them that you're transferring love to or blaming. You were blaming or transferring, right? Projecting or transferring. Either one is unhealthy because they're out there. I go here and it's just, I'm sad. When my arm ripped that day, it rips. It's, it's how I went immediately into how I'm feeling. It wasn't about the arm. And somebody, didn't it hurt? No, it actually didn't. The shock hit me emotionally, not physically, even though it ripped this muscle completely apart. It's weird. I sat down, I grabbed some ice, and I thought, the ice doesn't even have an effect because I don't feel it physically. And when you learn to do that, you pull away from the physical, you stop projecting onto a false god. You stop blaming the false god, the body, or the physical healing, transference. Oh, look, you healed. That's still of the body. I'm grateful that if you heal, one thing I'm really grateful for is because my belief is that we're affecting your consciousness. If all I want to do is think that I fixed your body, it really zeroes out the value of what happened. There's somebody I think that I heard this weekend that's here that had cancer that was cured. Who was it? Is the person in the room? No? Okay. Someone came to the center this week. And they were saying they worked with me 5 years ago. And the way I was told the story, I don't know if this is totally accurate, but the way I was told, I worked with them 5 years ago. And then they just told their doctors they won't need any surgery. And it turned out their cancer was gone now. Because that's a healing of consciousness. That's what you want to do. The fixing of the body. Now, the fixing of the body is okay as long as you know what it is, which is just temporary. Take an aspirin for a headache. God does not want you in pain. But God is also not pushing aspirin. God's saying, take the aspirin because I don't want you to be in pain, which you can't really be, by the way, because your body isn't there, so your head can't hurt. But take the aspirin by all means. Then give me your heart and soul. Talk to me and say, whatever's causing this headache is in here. It's not here. So I'm giving that to you, my Lord. I'm giving that to you, God. And God happily takes away our illusions, if that's what we're willing to give up. So then there's another layer. When we do soul level work, when we're ready to heal, guys, we absolutely have to forgive others for all the dartboard moments. Then we have to forgive ourselves, especially for how deeply we feel sad about everything that's gone on. There's one more layer that almost nobody understands or believes in, and that is the terror of God. We are angry at others, sad to ourselves, but we're afraid of God. Now, the average New Age person, the average Buddhist, the average whatever student on the path is going to say, oh, no, that doesn't apply to me. It does apply. You'd like to think it doesn't, and here's a reason why. Because you don't want to admit that you feel terrified towards God. So whether you try intellectually to convince me it's not so, I'm not going to hear you because it's not true. It's denial, and I understand it. You're afraid. You're afraid of what God might do if it knows that you've been naughty. Do you know how much you've killed other human beings in one life or another? You've cheated at least once in your 1,000 lifetimes. You've been bad, man. You've done some naughty things. What if God finds out? I'll blame others. Dartboard again. I'll just show him how sad I feel. You see? Remorseful. That's not going to win it over. You bring it to the light and own it. You feel terrified because you've hurt yourself. You brought yourself out of heaven. That's enough to think he's going to be angry. He's got to be mad. And God's like, huh? I don't know. Let me check in. Nope. I don't feel angry. I'm muscle testing it. I don't feel angry. No, God, you're just in denial. The Bible said, yeah, but the Bible was written by angry men. Sorry. But it's true. Projection. We've convinced ourselves and each other God's angry, but God never said it is. I'm an angry God. I'm a jealous God. It's in the Bible. Yeah, but God didn't write that part. So what am I going to do with this? There's a way of dealing with this. But remember, you're navigating hell. Dante's Inferno. You're navigating what Greek mythology talks about, Tartarus, which is like the word torturous. Your own guilts and shames make up your hell. So if we can work on our stuff here, shamanic work, soul retrieval work, 12-step work, tracking, when you do healing work, soul inner work, I don't just mean like, external, but when you do internal work, you're actually navigating the depths of hell, releasing things you won't have to face later. So do it. Face it. Face everything. And some seems harder than others. But it doesn't have to. If you give up a splinter in your finger and rage equally, that's good. Give up terror of God equally to sadness, it's a good idea. Give them all up equally. Don't make one worse than another. And if you don't believe me, you have nothing to lose by just saying it anyway. God, if I have any feeling of fear of you, take it from me. I'm open. Just lift it up. How could you hurt yourself? It's a good idea to own these things. But we feel terrified of God. And here's a very important piece. My terror of God, I feel so afraid of God that I'll put my own picture on the dartboard and punish myself. And then not do real soul level healing work. I would rather come back lifetime after lifetime, still anger at others, sadness towards self, punishing others, punishing self, so that I don't have to deal with the third step, which is terror of God. A Course in Miracles had the courage to say, it all comes down to fear of God. And I've heard people intellectualize that. Well, no, fear of God is just a primal blah, 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 and they go, just goes nowhere. Just, like Yogananda says, here I am. Just stand in your prayer and open your heart and say, here I am. Whether it's anger, sadness, terror, whatever, here I am. Let the light of God shine on every part of your being. You cannot reach heaven while anchored in hurt. But that doesn't mean I'm minimizing the hurt. Like I'm not a get over it kind of guy. I'd rather say, tell me what happened. Honestly, tell me what happened. Well, I thought you said it's an illusion. Illusion or not, this is where they're at. Tell me what happened. Or they're having surgery. Tell me your concerns about the surgery. It's okay. That's the real hero in these stories, is the one that says, feel the fear and do it anyway. We thought mastery was about overriding emotions. Go and read books written in the 20s, 40s, 60s, and they were still saying, emotions are a lower human thing, and you have to overcome them. Fight them, stuff them down. There was this like the concept of Archangel Michael spearing the serpent. Kill your emotions was the mantra of the old days. And then, well, why would you have to kill them if they don't really exist? You must actually think they exist or you wouldn't be fighting them. So let's shine light on them. Well, no, that could bring them out and it might water and feed them, and then they grow when you nurture them by being afraid of them. All evil is only existent by us feeding it, by being afraid of it or angry at it. There is keep giving it to God. This is funny, God. I feel like I have this illness, but show me differently. See, I told folks a few years back that this concept, even of hell and demons, that's going to be opening up soon. Do you guys, some of you remember me saying that? It's going to be opening up soon. Even dark beings are going to be unleashed more. I told you this a few years back, and it's now happening. But it doesn't mean, oh my God, like just horror movie, which it will be in part, but it means our stuff is showing up more. And everything's going to be about this anger at others, sadness towards self, or fear of God. And my fear of God makes me hide. I'd actually prefer feeling despair than face my terror of God. And then just so I don't feel my despair, I'm going to find someone to blame for my despair. Oh, there, now I'm safe. You see what's happening there? Each one is hiding the one behind it, the deeper one. Outside anger, inside sadness, in the core, fear of God. So as long as I feel afraid of God, I'm going to be sad about it. And as long as I feel sad and don't want to face my sadness, I'm going to be angry and project it on other people. So it's quite profound, but we're describing Tartarus, torturous. We're describing hell. We're describing subconscious mind of humanity. So you'll see this in the world, and don't be afraid of it. You'll see it in the world. You'll see it in your own life. If I see it in the world, it's part of me anyway. So don't think, oh man, those people are really struggling. They're part of you. Well, no way. Oh, back to that again. Dartboard. Try to evolve beyond the dartboard master. If I throw enough darts at that photo, the photo will dissolve. It will. Think about it. Puncture it enough times and it starts falling apart. Xerox machine, there it is again and again and again. Get wise, it puts a mustache on it. Now it doesn't look the same. Keep going on your conviction to heal, and you start to go, wait a minute. As soon as you get it, it's amazing. Because even if the ego could put a picture up, it wouldn't have the same effect on you, right? But it can't put them up after a while because it's not believed in here. When one of you asked about belief systems. My beliefs create my hell. My beliefs create my life. No one can marry you or unmarry you if it's not in your belief system. So get used to going from there to here. Someone passes away in your life, they're a hologram. They didn't die on you. The concept of them that exists in your soul passed away. What does that mean to you? Do you see what I just said there? What does that mean to you? Well, that sounds almost cold. If you lost a child or a loved one, come on. What about, I got to feel? No, I'm telling you. Go ahead and feel. Be angry. The doctors didn't do enough for them, or someone let you down. So go ahead. If that's, just dartboard it. But as you grow, you start to go, what does this mean in here? Your grandmother didn't die. If your grandmother was a lovely, nurturing person, and you're sad that she died, I'm telling you, what you're sad about is you lost nurturance today. Now, you have a choice. If you lost it, cry. Or do what grandma would hope you would do, which is, and all that she is, I am. And nurture the same nurturer that she was in you. And now you can't miss her. You follow with that? Yes. Yeah. I don't care if you like people or dislike them, they're all reflections of parts of yourself. You can say, well, I feel the opposite. I'm glad to have gotten rid of so-and-so. Thank God they're dead now. Oh my God, they just haunted me all my life, and they will. Even if you could go and get a lobotomy so that you destroy that neuron, that part of your brain that remembers them, they're coming back because it's unhealed. It's not their evilness that's going to come back in another lifetime. It's your unhealed wounds. I'm telling you, when you get the message, the messenger disappears. This doesn't satisfy our needy human self, of course, because I want that person I want my grandmother back. And the louder you get about it, the sadder you seem about it, the less you actually understand your grandmother. Wow, she was so, wow. And then breathe that in. And I swear to you, if you could interview her, she would say exactly what I'm saying. Honey, don't spend your years missing me. Become what you saw in me and more. Jesus said the same thing. I'm leaving. No, please don't go. It wasn't like they were just sincerely in their soul going, no, please don't. Their soul knows on one level, the half of their soul that's listening to God, they know it's okay. But that's not the part that was speaking. Please don't leave us. That was this part. Saying, who's going to pay taxes? You know how to fish and just pull coins out of fish. I can catch cold, Jesus. You want Jesus, the person, to be something for you on the outside. And Jesus is like, I'm so out of here. But he didn't say that. Don't look in Scripture for that, okay? Matthew 15:3, I'm out of here. But Jesus did say, if I don't leave, you won't find the Comforter. And what he meant was, you won't become this. You'll always focus it on me. See? And he says that in the deepest level, he's saying, you have to awaken what you see in me, the I am that I am in you. And that's like, Wow. And there's a part of us that doesn't feel worthy. What part is that? The part that's separated from God. So I have to fight, not my enemies out here. I have to fight myself. God is. I'm not. And the world reflects my beliefs. So there's people that hold my goodness. Oh, you're evidence that I'm a good person. Or the ones that did naughty things. And we became angry at them. You don't want God to know about any of this. Please do not look. It isn't going to be good. You hear about this when you hear people say, when you die, you see your life flash before your eyes. I mean, it's kind of funny. How many people were ever smiling when they said that? Do you know that when you die, it's amazing? And you see your whole life. No, they don't go, it's going to be so good. They're like, oh, man. When you go into the screening room, bring cyanide. Bring cyanide. Because as soon as they start the reel, just check out. They don't tell you it's going to be good. Why? Because nobody believes it's actually that good. Even those of us who are good people and do good to the world, we still have this suspicion that there might be one piece I didn't get quite right. And if you're riding, your happiness level is riding on that, did I get it just right? Perfectionism again. It's about, did you forgive yourself for not getting it just right? And that's very important. So beautiful. Just, Jesus is saying, you think I'm just another teacher. I am the way. And the way that I'm bringing to you is this. This is the only thing that could even be called a shortcut, which it's not, because it's real. It's not a cheating shortcut. And that is, no matter what you've done, forgive yourself. No matter what, but some things I did to others, forgive yourself. We actually, in child psychology, child development, it's known that children, if something happens in the household, they often personalize it. Have you heard of that? It's so weird. Mom can say, oh, this fruit has gone bad. What did I do? I mean, it's so weird. Children personalize these things. Do you know why? Oh, because they're so beautiful and innocent. Why is because on a soul level, we feel so ashamed. We think everything's our fault. And it is, in the sense, we left God and then everything else came from that. So what if you haven't left God? This is the consciousness of Christ that teaches. I hear it's logical. If you did this, you should pay for it. And the Bible says, every penny has to be paid, But then there's this other thing, which is forgiveness is already paid for it. We went, no. It says eye for an eye. Really? So play that out and you just have a bunch of blind people on the planet. Everybody just took out each other's eyes. How's that going to work out? It doesn't even sound fun. So it's eye for an eye is the old way. But eye for an eye meant everything you do will come back to you. When? In the future, right? But that implies time. But time isn't real, which means it's going to come back eventually, but eventually doesn't exist, so therefore it's not coming back. Now, if I say that and put that in a book, it's going to sound so irresponsible. Do whatever you want. There's no such thing as karma. No, actually, that's not true. We believe in karma, so I wouldn't do that because our beliefs are going to bring things back to you. But thank God you can still surrender things to God and say, show me the me that is before and after the drama I created. There's God's, a bunch of, I don't know if I could. I'll try to repeat it. I am the Alpha and Omega. Thank you. That's wonderful. God's the Alpha and Omega. What does it mean? Before you screwed up, I am. After you screwed up, I am. Focus on I am, and you won't have to worry about what you've done. Focus on the truth of God. You're in a timelessness, a miracle level of consciousness. You're not bound by what happened in the period of time where you took over. So we surrender our thoughts, beliefs. It's really beliefs. Surrender our beliefs, and this thing called time collapses. And even in quantum physics, they believe, some physicists believe, that according to the laws of the universe, They're not thinking grace and God. They're just thinking universal laws. They're saying, technically, if time began here and ends here, when the end of time comes, it says the whole universe that blew apart in a big bang will, by gravity, the law of gravity, will contract. That's what they're believing in some forms of quantum physics. If the universe exploded, then the day that time ends, the universe will contract. But here's what they're saying. If it contracts, watch this, time began, time ends. But if this all comes to an end at some point, it'll contract in itself, and then time will be as though it never was. So even some forms of science are speculating that once we're home, you never left. Well, that's total Course in Miracles. Oh, that's kind of cool. So let's draw it another way and we'll conclude. If this is, because time is a loop, if this is when time began, and let's pretend we fell in the year 10 billion BC, what's the date that we get home? What's the date? Don't try to be philosophical. I already gave you the answer. If time is a loop and it began 10 billion BC, when did it end? 10 billion BC. Oh, so this isn't even happening. We're actually just wearing these virtual headsets that go, oh man, if I were insane, this is the life I would have created. And then we chose to believe what we saw in the virtual shades, glasses. That's what we did. Course in Miracles says, when you realize this, you're going to laugh, which you just did. Which means you woke up a little. And if you were sleeping, the person next to you helped you wake up. Think about it. It has to have ended when it began. Because time's a loop. It is not linear. It's not a direction like this. Go far enough, Einstein said, along a line and you'll end up back where you started. Well, if that's true, time, same thing, which also means separation from God. So we're experiencing the effects of what life would have been like if we separated. But we already woke up. We already went home. Because it was only a fraction of 1 second that we even wondered. But time, because of our power, because we are co-creators with God, we are infinitely powerful. So, what happens is, when this boom took place, it seems very real. And we talk about, well, how's it going? Well, I was I was married, and then that came to an end, and then I concluded it. Now I'm finding somebody else, and it's a loop. And I had a job, and then I have another job. And I was born in one lifetime, now here comes another. And it looks like we're doing all these seemingly, I guess, in some ways, progressive things of life, even evolving. But we just find ourselves coming back around and around. And that's because it's just a video game, a matrix. It's a video game. But as he says in the Course, but you believe in it. And it's kind of good that you believe in it because it shows that creators believe in their creations. The bad news is this isn't creation. This is make-believe. So we lost our mind back here and said, what would life be like to be separate from God? Which can't be done because God is all. But we said, uh-oh. So the first feeling you could say was fear. What have we done? Comes guilt, shame, judgment, and so on, and it just keeps going. And now I think we better go over here for a while, which is called the universe, and live here for billions of years, hoping to eventually evolve. Don't believe that. Don't believe any of the lies that all this universe tells us. We're eventually going to evolve. You know what? I don't have that kind of time. If I haven't gotten it right yet, and I've lived 1,000 lifetimes, what am I hoping for? 1,000 more? You've got to be kidding me. What about now? Take the elevator of now up to that point of the ending. How? Every time you forgive, you're going from wherever you were to now, the now of God. Forgiveness. Otherwise, if I have even a little investment, you did, you didn't do, you said, you didn't say, this and that and the other, this lifetime, another life, I'm actually spinning the wheel of misfortune again and again. The wheel of karma, the wheel of illusion that Buddha spoke of. You have to get off the wheel. And off the wheel means the center of the wheel first. Calm down, calm down. Yeah, but and they, calm down. Center. Then practice the forgiveness of God, which is found here. Focus your eyes on home. Click your heels and say, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Or there's no place like Om. Even here, and you'll start to experience micro doses, microcosms of this is what it's like to be at peace, even though I'm still here. It doesn't ascend you up and away. It just simulates the presence of God down right where you are. So you could be in the worst, terrible anger or fear, an illness, and you find a different way of seeing it and feeling. It's not that you're becoming detached at all. Remember, there's a difference. Detached, attached, both are unhealthy. Non-attachment is your center. It's all okay. What if I get sick? Does that mean I failed? Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for being sick and for judging yourself for being sick. Now, nothing else matters. What if I'm still sick? Doesn't matter. Because once we put things in motion on the wheel, they tend to take a while to burn off, for the wheel to slow down. We throw the wheel in motion and the ego is counting on us going insane again before it slows down and we find ourselves. You see? So the ego is going to go, oh, somebody got the wheel in motion again. Wasn't me. Seems like you aren't as enlightened as you thought. Oh my God, now I'm all upset. Ah, good. And that's the way it looks at it. And God's like, you were so close. You almost had it, man. Try again. So strange. Crazy the world. Please take a few centering breaths. Just looking back over some of the things presented. Even the person asked, about evil characters. They do and they don't exist. People do and don't exist. They do exist in the make-believe world. But no being, no person has any power but that which is given them, which is what Jesus said to Pilate. You have no real power over me. Think of any negative emotions you've experienced this last week. Sadness, loss, anger, annoyance, rage, any from the highest to the lowest, just anything that pops to mind. Please keep an open mind. Don't worry about being perfect. Just be open-minded. The person, the way this person treated me. If you can't think of any, then just reflect back to driving through the roundabouts in Sedona. And you'll find at least a mild annoyance. Something's there. The server that didn't give you the right food, and it's okay. Yeah, but I wasn't angry. Shh. Just own it. It's okay. And then can you open up to more than once this year where you were off a little? Annoyed, angry, enraged, any level of that fire energy. Anything that someone else seems to have done, even an illness seems to have done. It's still another. It's not a person, but it's an other. What about war? Politics, finances. Well, I wasn't angry. I was just a little concerned. Okay, put that in there. All of it. Every one of them is called a false idol. It's called that because we think it has power over us. Holy, centered children of God are thinking somehow that this has power over us. If it didn't have power, why did it annoy you? It triggered you, and it doesn't have the power to really do that. It can't affect your spirit. It means in your belief systems, it found a nerve. And hidden behind one or more emotions that you targeted on other people, hidden behind it, them, are your own feelings towards yourself. Why does it bother you that they cut you off on the road? Why does it bother you that someone passed away? Why does it bother you that you owe more taxes than you thought? You didn't get the raise at work. Whatever the emotion, look inside your heart, please. How do you feel about it? I feel sad. Okay, good. Own it. Name a couple of emotions that would summarize all of your opinions towards others. And look at that. Lack of self-worth, a pattern of betraying myself, unworthiness. Look at your own inner patterns. And do you know that if those patterns were healed, you couldn't manifest the reasons for being irritated at others? So we're going to bring all of this to you, God. Oh, no, wait, I can't because I'm afraid of God actually healing me. I'm afraid of God. I can't make a bargain with God where God's going to heal me of all my physical, financial, personal, emotion issues because I don't totally trust God. I'm afraid of God. You may or may not want to own that, but just try it. Just maybe. If it's remotely true, I'm bringing that to the altar as well. My feelings towards others, my feelings toward myself, and God, I'm going to say this, I don't know of any conscious fear of you, but if it's there, you are not to be feared. You are the presence of love. How could I be afraid of love? But I am, because in my heart, I believe I'm undeserving on some level, because love takes the form of money and everything else. Undeserving. And then my undeserving kind of bothers me. So I project it on others and blame others and get angry at others. God, not today. All that I feel towards others that's been coming up this year, all my feelings toward myself, my unworthiness and so forth, get behind me, Satan. This is a lie. I am worthy because God created me. I might have come up with a belief that I'm not, and I'm putting that on the altar, and I'm putting my judgments on myself for doing this on the altar. God, even fear of you, I am putting on the altar, and I am opening my heart and soul. You shine your light in me. It will not burn anything that's real in me. You shine your light. I feel beautiful about this, or I might feel a little intimidated. Doesn't matter. Here I am. Here I am. You knew me before my twisted dream. And I want to know myself as you remember me. And the Holy Spirit, which is the voice for God, says, "You are my beloved child in whom I am well pleased." Nothing you've ever thought, said, or done has had any effect in my relationship or view of you. Get that really clear in your mind. Nothing you've ever thought, said, or done has had even the most remote effect on my thoughts of you. Thank you enough for trusting me to join with me today. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. And if you really want to anchor this, she says, the Holy Spirit, the Divine Mother says to us, if you really want to anchor this and not just have it as a concept that you viewed in a meditation, you really want to get this, you have to do one more thing. Wish it upon everyone else. Anyone that comes to mind, extend the same feeling to them. You are God's holy child in whom God is well pleased. The most wicked, the least wicked, I don't care, all of them equally. I would not hold God back from you, because then it holds it back from all of us. The God I am, you are. I believe this, I accept this. I know this to be true. God's will be done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God, self, and others. And so it is. How are you feeling? Without getting too much up here, just gently from your heart, what did you hear or learn that made the most sense? The meditation or the talk? What did you hear or learn that made the most sense?
Where home is.
Where home is.
Learn the message and the messengers. Messengers, as in plural, go away.
Yeah.
There's more than one messenger.
If you get the message, the messenger disappears. That's true, including an illness. But you know what? Just lighten up. Right? Lighten up. It's going to happen. A splinter or a heartbreak, it's going to happen. That doesn't define you. It's happening to show you raw areas in your consciousness about certain things. But it doesn't define you. It's okay. It's going to happen on earth. And Jesus is telling you, things are still going to happen, but don't worry because I've overcome the world. And if I've overcome the world, I've done it for you. So these things don't have power over you anymore. No karma. It's okay. You know, lighten up, have a little humor about it. You know, if you're going to die, have a swan song death, man. Right? Just start singing.
Timeless loop.
Yeah. The timeless loop. Yeah.
Stand for what's right, but don't place blame.
Stand for what's right, not placing blame. Absolutely.
Recognizing this is all just a big virtual reality video game.
It's a video game, man. You know, change headsets or change videos, change something. It's consciousness. Those are symbols of consciousness. Well, but what I see is, yeah, well, take off the headset. Yes.
I love the wheel analogy and from the time of going through from here to
The wheel,
this
yeah.
and
Right.
to the now.
Exactly, exactly. It's okay, guys. You know, it's like just have, I mean, I'm not minimizing the hurt. I get it. During the COVID thing, towards the end, after COVID for a couple years, I started having those symptoms and all that. And at the end of the day, when, you know, I got checked out and, you know, the doctor said, you need to go to the hospital. I said, okay, what's going to happen there? He said, you're going to probably die. And here's what I said. So the ambulance is being called to come and get me and take me to the hospital to die. That's what they said, I swear. And here's what I said. I'll go if you can check this out for me and find out if I can pay the ambulance driver to go through Taco Bell and get me some munchies. It wasn't Taco Bell. What's the name of the place? My seasoned curly fries. Jack in the Box. I want seasoned curly fries. That's what I said. And he went, no. I said, then I'm not going to the hospital. I went home and apparently I didn't die. But I swear, you guys were there. Some of you know, right? I told them, I'll go to the hospital if I get to go get curly fries. I mean, I got to make this drive worth it. I'm not going to have this being some funeral dirge. I want curly fries. You know, and lighten up. If you're going to die, you know, okay. Die well. I'm serious. My God, Cling to Christ and sin boldly, Martin Luther said. Cling to Christ and sin. It's like, but this is me. It's okay. Get the judgments off. Anyway, thank you. We're going to take up our collection and do our closing prayer. Please be as generous as you can be. And while they're preparing for that, let's see. Again, many blessings to our married couple. And a couple of other announcements. Let's see. The chaplains are available after service. We're having a Daughters of Heaven conference. There's a conference coming up in a couple of months, the Daughters of Heaven. Please register for it as soon as you can. You get 10% off if you sign up within a week, but it's only a couple $100 anyway, but please try to attend that. You can attend from long distance watching it virtually, or you can attend in person, but do your best to sign up for that because it's extraordinary. The Daughters of Heaven conference. There's a website to go learn more, and there's also a book, Daughters of Heaven. But that's happening, and yes. But our chaplains are available to pray after service, but we're going to have a Daughters of Heaven meeting first, and then afterwards they'll have the group prayer. So if you'd like to experience prayer, you're welcome to fill out a slip for what you're looking for in prayer. Our book and gift store, I want to mention, remember, they not only do you not have to pay taxes like you do at stores in town, and all the stores in town are beautiful. This one has a little more this one has, they all have something fantastic, honestly. But our store, you don't pay taxes, but also everything's about 30 or 40% less expensive than if you buy it elsewhere. So you get some great deals. There's also gift packages. You can get one or more of those that it's like $20, but in it you get like $30 or whatever it is worth of stuff. A book of mine, incense burner, incense, a gift card. It's a variety of things. That's available in there. You can ask for those. And thank you for joining us on social media. Some people watch on Facebook, some on YouTube. But thank you for joining us. You can subscribe so that you're, noted or told when we're on live doing other things. And I think that's it for the announcements, unless the board members have something to tell me. Let's see, I think that was it. All right, so our love offering, please. Be as generous as you can be. There's bags that you put the donations in. You can click online to make a donation. But the baskets are for any extra donations, for people of lesser means or for special projects that we do. Your generosity is appreciated. If you have nothing at all to put in there, then just let us give to you a prayer that your prosperity is here. It's coming. It's relaxed. It's okay. Let it come to you. The power of God in any form. Together, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and so it is. Truly, truly. While they're passing those around, any final comments on the meditation or the service, the talk, what you learned or heard? Yes.
Right at the end of your discussion, you talked about how we can have found a solution, but the wheel is still moving.
Good, yeah.
My experience in the last 3 days is I found a solution, and I felt like the solution was there, but it was still moving.
Yeah.
And I finally talked to a person here today about it in depth,
Nice.
and I could tell that the wheel is still moving.
That even though you've worked on something, it still feels like the wheel is still moving. And that's an amazing, deceptive thing that the ego plays. Here's what happens. Life stuff happening to you is like somebody turning a fan on you. Okay? But it's not, obviously it's not a fun fan. But there's this fan blowing on you. And you say, God, can you help me with this? So imagine God unplugs the fan. It takes a while for the blades to stop moving. But the ego will say 10 seconds later, 11 seconds later, 12, do you still feel the wind? Yes. See, it didn't work. It's going to get you to watch for what's not working exactly right and exactly now, immediately, to make you think whatever you did didn't work. So you have to be willing to say, I've done the work. I don't care about the fan blowing wind. I don't care. Because as soon as you start looking to confirm your success, when you look with these eyes, you're already in hell. You have to ask for this eye that is single to observe everything possible. God, you show me through your eye, your oneness eye, what is really happening here. And God can only talk love. They're fine. Yeah, but I want to know if they're fixed. They're fine. Yeah, but they're fine. You see? And that's hard for ego minds. To believe what you don't yet see. That's why faith is in things unseen. Because it doesn't matter. What I feel in here is what matters. My love for that person. My love for that client. And so on. There was one more hand up in the back. Yes? Forgiving self. Don't we often forget that one? But it's also the deep sadness in self. We do have anger towards ourselves, and we have sadness towards others. But generally, at least in today's talk, based on some of the questions you asked, I went in that direction, that the anger targeted outside is one thing. Deep down, we're not just angry at ourselves, guys. We feel sad. You know, we do. We feel levels of despair, and I don't like these feelings. So the ego says, there's a way. Just look over there. What's that? A target board. You know, a dart board, and watch. Oh, and they call that processing. You know, just yell at them. I feel better now. You know, even when you're doing like in therapy, I hate you, Mom. Oh my God, this is great. But you're allowed to say that, but there's a way to do it responsibly and it be a therapeutic thing versus venting. The way, for me, the way I would describe the difference is, one of them I believe and one of them I don't. I don't actually believe I hate you. I don't actually believe that what you did has power, but I'm going to scream it anyway. You see? Get it out of your system, but don't believe it's true, which sounds weird because that sounds like, well, then you're negating. No, it's because you know there's something more to this, but get it out of your system. And if I get it out of my system, I start to realize there's none of that behind it. It's, I thought I was angry at you. And I just more and more am going here towards me, which is not easy, which is why I vented on you in the first place. The reason we blame others is so we don't have to look at self. And the reason we eventually will settle on blaming self, which we'd rather not do, we'd go to others. But if I'm going to blame myself, I need enough of that to never get me to face my terror of God. Because man, if I get through that gauntlet, the final thing, fear of God, I'm home. But the ego doesn't pave this golden, wow, just walk home right through all your fears. No, if you get there, it ceases to exist. So the ego it must keep you from going in the direction of home. It means its demise. And because the ego makes us think that we're it, then when you think you're failing at spiritual path, listen to this final sentence. When you think you're failing, your ego makes you think you're it. It's actually the one that's failing. When you think you're failing on your spiritual path, your ego tricks you into thinking you're it. But if I'm feeling like I'm failing, I must actually be getting somewhere. Because someone's thinking that I'm failing. It's the ego getting you to identify with it, but it's failing. So in even your deepest failures, smile. Smile and have some seasoned curly fries. As soon as possible. No, from Jack in the Box. They got to be fresh and greasy. Please stand for our closing prayer. Talking about that even that song, Reflections of My Life, and can you feel like what he's feeling? The war was going on at that time, and doubts and fears, and look at my life. My God, what is all this about? And hatred, and this place is horrible. He's saying, feeling. Let him feel it. Let him say it. And don't be afraid to sing it. Don't be afraid to sing the gospel songs, like What a Wretch Am I? You know that one? What's the name of that? The word grace and amazing in one line, and it goes into what a wretch you are. The part of you, it was written by a man who was enslaving human beings. And he's singing it because his ship was sinking. Oh, save me. Well, he got it. He realized, what am I doing? So it's okay that he said, what a wretch. You don't have to go like, oh, that's negative reinforcement. You know what? Don't be so weird and so hypersensitive. I think it's great that he said, what I'm doing is wrong. It was. Save me. I love it. See? You can change the words like they do in the New Thought churches. What a saint am I? If you have to. But you're not under, why are you so afraid of the guttural stuff in here? Your darkness. Open it up. Let light shine on it. You will get more from that than all the books and meditations. Letting light shine on the parts you don't want people to see. That's real. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Thank you so much. Peace be with all of you. Thank you.